Back with another episode of Keeping Current with Kansas City. This is Bell from the KC Soccer Journal. With me is not Daniel Sperry. He is off doing some very, very important things right now, which I will leave for him to talk about when he's ready. But on the other side of the screen for me is Carrie Robinson. How are you, Carrie?
I'm doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you last.
She's being snarky because we've just gotten off of about an hour's worth of recording another podcast about mostly about that other team in town who might want to poach coaches. I don't know, right? I don't know if they really want to poach coaches or they just wanted to inquire.
Just hold on. Just can you imagine him giving up a new stadium, a new district that's getting built around the stadium? You got Joe's Barbecue in the stadium. You've got his favorite quarterback, like 30 feet behind him,
Yeah.
for Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Well, you got to have dreams, right? Um, though, I mean, we could talk about this more in the other pod that we just did, but I actually don't blame Sporting for inquiring, right? I mean, they've denied it, but I have very good sources saying that yes, they at least inquired. But I feel like Sporting would be failing in their due diligence if they didn't at least go, "Hey, would you want to be? Would can we talk to you?" You know?
The only thing that's I think I'm so it leaves such a bad taste in my mouth is because it's just taking from another Kansas City team that's doing well, that's doing so well. Like I get it because, he's after the national team, he wasn't exactly sure if he wanted to go back to women's coaching with all the pressure, and things just happened to lay out perfectly for him. But he was looking at MLS, but I don't know, it's just something about taking from your own city.
I know, but I honestly, if I was in charge of Sporting, I would ask too. I'll be honest, because he's a good coach. I know he's a
Yeah.
good coach, and he's local. And I would actually offer, can you coach both? Just like you stay for the home games, and the assistant goes for the away games. How about that?
It's like whenever they people were like asking if Emma Hayes could coach both national teams after they won the gold.
Yeah, that's interesting, but
Yeah.
I just think that they could probably. There's somebody who could do that. Vlaco did coach the Comets and FC Casey at the same time, but the seasons only overlapped a little bit, so
Right.
it didn't really matter as much back then.
Sure.
Plus, the NWSL was barely known at that point. So anyway, all right. Um, unless we want to talk more about the potential of Vlaco leaving, which I don't think there's a whole lot of chance of. The Current had a nice 3-0 win at home over the weekend. And you were there, right?
It was, yeah. It was nice. The weather was nice for the most part. It's pretty sunny in my section, so gotta cover the eyes for half the field. Um,
Where were you
but
at?
I sit in like I think it's the first R in current, or maybe it's the second R. I think it's in that middle-ish section. That's not
It's
the expensive seat that's like right next to the expensive seats.
ah, okay.
Yeah. But it was a great game. I mean, it's Utah Royals. There's only so much that you can expect from them. And the attacking that they have there, outside of Setner. But I was surprised with how well we did. Both, I mean, there wasn't much defensively, but they held it down.
Yeah, and yeah, I kind of like, okay, Utah is just a second year team. They had some problems but they were a much better team at the end of last year with after they changed coaches. Sorry,
Right.
A-Rod. They've got some other players in and a Kansas City favorite, Kate Del Fava, Loera, not back yet. but and then a this is more of the snarky favorite, St. George. Yeah, she was not very popular person in that game.
Nope. Neither her past or her present. Because obviously fans are going to remember her standing over Temwa in the playoff game, but also it was a physical game for the little amount of yellow cards that were given out. And I was surprised. And I felt like Bianca St. George contributed to a lot of
She did.
that.
There was a one moment. It was in the first half, probably like maybe 20 minutes in, 25 minutes in, and St. George just like laid out low. Did you see that? It would have been like right in front of
Yeah.
you, pretty much. And of
Yeah.
course, no refs are looking that way because like
All
Lowe
right.
had passed the ball up, and she just ran her over. And then the next 5 minutes, Lowe just kept like running at St. George and just like throwing a little bit of a forearm or an elbow, and but just mostly bouncing off of her, quite honestly.
Yeah, I think that that's the moment that current fans realized who she is. Because after that, she touched the ball, she was getting booed.
Let's see, Timois scored two, but only one counted. There was a little bit of a handball in the build up to the second one, which I still don't really. I have not
It could
watched
go
that
either
replay.
way, I
Yeah,
think.
I have to be honest. I've watched the game live. I watched all the goals, but I did not go back and dissect that play because, well, I've had a lot of other stuff going on lately. But I was told it was legit, but I'll watch it later. But yeah, so Timois, Dabinia, and Cooper all get goals.
Yeah, this is probably a game that's built for Kansas City. Kansas City, at least in this game, maybe a few other games, they don't really want the ball. They want to use the counterattack
Yep.
to get those goals. And that's great because Utah wanted the ball as much as possible. And they lose the ball so easily too, which really just kind of set up for such good goals.
The the Current are really good at waiting until whatever trigger is set and then attacking the whoever has the ball, whether it's a slow pass or just a little bit of a turn or whatever. You can dissect that down to probably different players will create different triggers and stuff like that. But once they attack that ball, they win it high majority of the time, and now they're on the go.
Yeah. Well, did you see that? I'm getting a little far ahead. But there were five KC Current people, I'll say people, on the team of the week. Four players, and then Vlatko made coach of the week, which, out of 12, 5 out of 12, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Who are the four players?
Davinia, Cooper, Temois, Lowe.
So that would be the little towel they handed out when you came in through the gate. That would be
Yeah,
the
I
same
think
four players.
I think so.
As I heard somebody, well, actually, it was Tealman at halftime walked by me and goes, "Did you see three out of the four players on this sheet, on this towel, scored? The fourth one is coming." I'm like, okay, don't rub off on me.
Oh, sorry, it was not Lowe, it was Cook.
Ah,
Or as the USA women's national team calls her, Alana Cool.
she is cool. I was I always struggle with Claire. How do you say her last name?
Hutton.
I feel like it's like missing the H when people do that. It's
Yeah,
like Utton, right?
yeah. My mom and dad, like every time that they hear like the announcer say Hutton, they're always like, "Where's the T's?" And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's how she pronounced it as well.
It is.
So
Yeah, I
yeah.
just so I was kind of joking with my daughter who's not very far off in age from you, and I was like, so yeah, I told her that the national team called up Utton, Ooper, and Ook, and she's just like, look at me, Dad, jeez. But all right, so Timoa gets that first goal. Do you remember how it happened? Should we break it
I
down?
should probably do not remember it.
So normally Sperry is like, oh yeah, and he just like starts rambling off and like numbers
Oh,
and stuff, which is quite fine that we're not doing the same show as if Sperry was here. But uh,
hello. I am Daniel Sperry today.
well, you have to sit lower so I can barely see you. But no, Sperry, like I said, Sperry's off doing some very good stuff.
He's gonna hate me for, for
If he
saying that.
listens, if he listens, I give him crap all the time, and he gives me a hard time too. So it's quite okay. But trying to remember. Actually, I'm trying to remember now because I've went through so much stuff the last couple of days. But
I'm watching the replay.
this is a
Oh, I
live
got it.
rewatch. No,
It is. Oh, Davinia passes it straight or right across, and Tema happens to be unmarked and just taps it in.
Cooper passed it across.
Cooper pass it across. Yes.
Actually, in warm-ups, they were practicing a lot of multiplayers running into the box because why wouldn't they? Because they're the current. And they were very much targeting not the player in the center of the box, but the player who was trailing a little bit behind that player and on the far side. So they were practicing that a lot in warm-ups and in because now I remember with Timwa, she was actually the lead runner into the box, and Dabini was on the far side. And Cooper tried to play it across. It got deflected back to Cooper, who then played it into Timwa, who was wide open right there.
Yeah,
That's
and that's just we did a shout to Kate Othala, but it was not a good game for her. And she tried to block it, but again it went straight back to Cooper. She tried to say it was offsides when I don't know if she realizes that she was in the goal herself.
yeah.
But
It, every player does that, so it's
I mean,
kind of funny.
yeah, there was that one, and then I think we'll talk about it later, but there's a ball crossing in, and it gets deflected off of her face, and then to the player, and then it's a goal. So
Which one was that? Was that the Cooper or the Dabinho one?
I think it was Cooper.
I
I don't
think you
know.
might be right.
We'll figure it out whenever I watch it later.
I start watching now, so you're ahead of the game. No, I'm kidding. But it was well-intentioned pass originally by Cooper, and then a good recovery to that's why you have multiple runners into the box, and if only other teams knew that. But they were able to counter, they were able to do that, and they had three, four, five runners running in at some times. So that's why they were so dangerous. But that was in the 22nd minute for Timwa. In the 37th was Cooper, and that was the one that was crossed over, I think, from Dabinia, but I could be wrong, and went to Cooper, who just skied it back across. Is that true?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, but we skipped the Timwa goal,
Yeah, that's actually what I was looking at. Whatever,
the
because
second Timwa goal.
I was watching her celly because
What was
of
that?
course I don't know. Of course, when Temwa sellies, it's always called back, and when she doesn't, then
We gotta tell her not to celebrate. I
oh,
know she was asked
she's
about
just
it.
brushing off the shoulders.
Oh, okay, because I saw her run over there, I just couldn't see what was going on. And somebody asked her, but she speaks so quietly, I could not hear what she said. So
Yeah,
she like talks really low and quiet and so humble, but so damn good.
I just score goals. That's my job.
Yeah.
That's my favorite line that she's ever had. That's my job to score goals.
And it's three games, three goals, three goals it
Yes.
counted, one against each team. So she is 3 out of 13 opponents scored on already. Last year she scored against every other team. Three down, 10 to go.
And she broke her own record for consistent non-playoff games that she's played, scoring in eight straight. Although I'm not really sure that they should be counting that whenever she didn't play against the last game of the last regular season game last year. But It's in the record books. Everyone's
Yeah.
counting it.
Yeah, that's some of those records that I don't want to say I don't care, but I just
Right. It's also hard to realize that or just like kind of wrap your head around whenever it feels like nothing because of that Orlando game where she didn't score, you
yeah.
know?
And it's across 2 seasons, and
Yeah.
those should only be in one season. Those type of records should be in one season, damn it. It can
Yeah.
never be more than the amount of games you play in a season.
Like last year's longest winning streak or unbroken streak. It started the season before in the worst
Yeah,
season that the Currents had.
I know that was
Yeah.
again one of those like, yeah, okay, I said it, but I didn't really believe it.
Yeah.
All right, so the second goal for Timoa was called back though. Nice, she got the celly in, but called back and probably legitimately, probably. But then Cooper got the goal in the 37th minute, and then in stoppage time of the first half, Dabinia got hers.
Let's go back to that finish that Coop had. It really
Yeah,
just man, that was quite the finish. She really just kind of volleyed it. It was almost like she missed a step so that she could get there and just kind of hopped into it.
she is on fire. That's if you had to say like which players are performing the best on the current right now, how hard is that? I mean,
Oh, it's Cooper's year by far. I think last year she got her confidence up, realizing that she's on a team that isn't bad like she was her rookie year. Um, but now it's her time to, I mean, she's getting called up to the national team, getting goals there too. I think it's really just boosted her confidence. Yeah,
see, I could make an argument for Dabinia also because she has just been playing lights out these first 3 games too.
she looks like she's like 28 again.
Yeah,
She looks like prime Dabinia in North Carolina.
and that's what I mean is like if I didn't know anybody's history or even just ages or any of that kind of thing, I would just be looking at those two and Timoa going, how do I pick? I mean, yes, Timoa scored more goals,
Yes,
but the play by Cooper and Dabinia has been
stellar.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. And even just like the chemistry between Temwa and Dabinia this year, I feel like it's not night and day, but it is vastly different. I mean, yeah, they were having fun last year, but man, they look like they're having a blast. And then, Rodriguez comes in and she's trying to duplicate and just having as much fun as she can
Yep.
with those two. It's a really fun trio.
It's really great fun group of players out there for the most part. I mean, it was a big change in speed and intensity when Cooper went out and Prince came in, but even she played well,
Right.
which it was Vlaco had answered about her about she did 80 minutes of running in 55 minutes, so she needed to come out. Like,
Yeah, which I was surprised by that. I was just imagining that Blacko is trying to keep her somewhat more healthy for the national team call up. Because he also subbed Hutton out
yep.
shortly after, 15 minutes after, something like that. But to see that stat, she was having a game herself.
Yeah. With the Hutton sub though, I want to say that that's taking a veteran bringing her in to help close out the game, but that a stellar second year player might make a mistake and you end up surrendering a goal. And you know how many
Right.
times last year early they would give up a goal and then give up two, and then you like, oh, now it's a little bit in doubt, even though they were up by a couple goals. So I think that's just that closing it out with the vet.
Yeah,
But I like Rocky a lot.
me too. I'm glad that I have always liked her. Um, I was a little sad when she went to LA because I knew she wouldn't get a lot of playing time. Um, so she kind of like flew off the radar for me. But, seeing her come back, she said that she's found her love of soccer again.
Yep.
I think that it's been a while since she's been on a highly competitive team. Then again, she, you know, beat us in the finals in 2022. Yeah. But this team is just a whole different level than even Portland in 2022. A lot of those teams even back then.
Yeah, it's so is Orlando, unfortunately. But Rocky had, she just talked about coming to a team that, cares so much about the play and the fans and all this stuff. I hope to get a podcast interview with her when she gets back. I was actually trying to get one before I knew she was called up. Dang it. Well, no, congrats for her, but dang it for me. But yeah, so Cooper went out in the 56th minute officially. Hutton went out in the 72nd for Rocky, and also Vanessa DiBernardo went out for Bia.
Can't believe I forgot about that.
I was looking at you like I was about to say, I was saying that I was like waiting for you to say the name, and I'm like,
I know, and I was like shaking my head. Everything about this game has just like popped out.
well, we have had a psychic shock to the soccer community on Monday, so that's probably why.
Yeah. My whole life has been consumed by Twitter, unfortunately, at the moment.
Ah,
But
you kids. No.
no, that the crowd for Bia was also insane. Again, I think Kansas City has found their love for all these players individually. I mean, you can see that even whenever Kate Delfova was announced, she got a giant uproar.
She
Um,
did.
but I mean, how many days had it been since we had last seen Bia? It was like uh, it was at least 150. Was it 200? Not
Oh, the
200.
see, I don't know that. Damn it. I knew she subbed in though. At least I get credit for that.
There was a stat that was like, "Welcome back." How
Yeah,
maybe it's like I want to say I don't know why this number is coming to me. It was like 173. So
sure.
if that's right, then I don't
I'll
know.
give you extra credit points.
Thank you.
I don't know what that'll get you, but I'll give you some extra credit points.
It'll make
Uh,
up if that I forgot about Bia.
Only if you're right though.
Only from right.
Yeah. All right, which you need to like be on the honor system and let me know later. I'll trust you.
No one looked this up.
The no, you're supposed to do it. Damn it. You have homework. I have homework because I got to edit like 4 pods tonight. But anyway, Bia was standing over there in the sideline with Rocky, and it was so easy to see Bia was just beaming, like a huge smile. And like when Vanessa was running over to sub with her, and it was just the grin just got bigger. I could see like 7,000 teeth. It felt like from the end, and so I was just so happy for her to get out there. And she played okay. She didn't do anything spectacular, but it's first game back for after 173 days or whatever it is. So I was just happy to see her back out there.
Yeah, I think that if, you know, again, we had made those subs to kind of close out the game. I think if she came in slightly earlier, then I think there'd be a little bit more of an impact. But again, you don't want to like try to rush her.
Right.
Um, but I think it's also just kind of dependent on the players that were out there and how she was gonna perform on that in however many minutes that she got left.
Yeah, she had some good runs. Showed what she could do. Just like you said, a lot of the wasn't some of the higher scoring players out there anymore. And but I was just again just very really really happy for her. And later on, Mace come on for Izzy, Haley Hopkins come on for Timwa, kind of just close out the game and get some more minutes in there. Uh, so just a overall really really good performance, even if it was just poor little Utah.
I'm excited to see Haley Mace get back to health. I think that while Izzy is fine over on that side, I think that there are times that we need to push a little bit more. I think even in this Utah game, that there were times that I mean Izzy, I believe, has always been a defender of some type versus Haley, who has kind of come back from being a forward, which kind of gives you that progressive pushing overlap
Yep.
that I think would have been a lot better for this game. But again, I'm fine with Izzy on the back there as well.
Well, also Ellie Wheeler was forward at one point too, because I mean she scored one of the opening goals last year in the new stadium, one of the five. I don't remember which one, but one of them. Um, and so she's pretty good at that too. Usually when Mace and Wheeler are out there, Mace will be the one that stays back more, and Wheeler will go forward. So Mace ends up playing a lot like a center back. But we know that she has the ability to play a really good long ball at times. And when they need to, she gets forward and really contributes also. So it's a nice problem to have with these players.
Yeah, I mean, looking back to Portland during the home game, when we had Ball in that outback position, wasn't my favorite,
No.
won't lie. And again, it was just one of those why is she playing? I understand that she has to, but we needed someone there, but it
Yes.
just felt so unnatural for that position. I would have been happier playing like a five back at that point, but again, we don't need to play that whenever we're just so uh attack heavy.
Yeah. And counterattacking because that's the strength is they drop back, they set up the blocks of defenders, and when they get the right moment, they crunch in. I don't know the right technical term, but they crunch in on whoever they need to and spring the ball, and the next thing you know, somebody's running, Temois or Cooper or Dabinia, and boom, it's now went from a little bit of a compact defense to oh hell shit, they're on the attack. So
Yeah. And then, we lose the ball and that defense, might lose someone here or there, but they haven't yet this season. That was my concern at least going into Washington. I had said that on the other podcast. But I am surprisingly happy with how our defense is looking so far.
it's well, I mean the defense was better last year after they made the moves in midseason to bring in Cook and Sharples. And Cook is, obviously a former national team player, and Sharples is pretty quality. No offense, Kayla, but not quite Cook level, I think. But she does really well. So I think I will be very interested to see how that turns out when Gabrielle Robinson does come back. Like now, you're gonna have to work her in. Maybe she'll do a little bit work outside or even as a six or something like that because she kind of has that ability too. But when she's healthy and back in form, I don't know who's the top three center backs at that point.
Have you heard a timeline for Robinson or Pfeiffer?
Not a very definitive one. I've seen Robinson in training consistently, and I've seen Pfeiffer mostly on the side doing stuff at this point. So, every time we ask those questions, it's, well, whenever the performance team says they're ready, not before. Yes, yeah, okay. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, just a rough estimate.
Or
But when Robinson comes off of a season-ending injury, they now have a problem because they have too many players. They'll have too many players at that point.
yeah, I I have a list of players in my head that
Oh,
will be dropped, but I don't want to say it.
why
Um,
not?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you want me
I
to like
want,
throw out names until you shake your head yes or no?
and then the camera or then the listeners just don't see it.
No, I'll say it. Don't worry. I'll throw you under the bus.
I will give you one. I think that my first one that's going is Jericho, and I understand that she makes Hemwa happy, and that's what we need on this team.
Yes.
But also, it's a spot that she's not getting minutes in. So
So who's your next one? Because there'll be two.
it's hard to say someone that either has just resigned or has just signed their very first ever contract. Um, because you look at these players and like, okay, obviously somewhere there was a need for them. But
So you're gonna say Katie Scott,
yes,
Kristen Hamilton?
yes.
I'm
And
I'm I'm psychic today.
you are. But I don't,
You
is it
don't want
possible?
that.
No, I don't. Okay, here's the thing. Is it possible to drop Katie Scott because she's under 18? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
And
If
so and
when
so
does she turn
then
18 though?
I feel like I feel like it's August. I think she did an entire college season at 17.
Yeah, I think you are right. And she was, um, I mean, I guess you could drop a third goalie.
June.
No,
She
I'm
turns
disappointed.
18 in June.
I was hoping you're right
Okay,
with August.
okay, June, August, it's all the same. It's
Not to
summer
somebody with an
technically.
August birthday is not the same.
It's kind of summer still.
August is hotter, it's stickier,
Yeah,
it's my
it's
birthday.
the
So, yeah.
it's okay, sorry. It's the end of summer versus the beginning of summer. Okay. Summer.
Uh, this is almost like Sperry's still here because I just get to give you crap instead of him.
Um, but
No, but
okay, so
I see your logic. I see your logic.
yes.
That's why I was able to guess it because
Yes.
I don't want to make those choices myself.
Here, you know what I do after every game, they have the fan cam. My first thing that I do is I scroll in and I see who's up at the top of the box at like by all the players that are kind of away from the bench up by the press box.
Okay.
That's who I look to see. And so that would be Hamilton and recently Stegliger, which could see her getting dropped off, but also for salary cap reasons,
Yeah.
she's probably decently cheap to keep around.
And we don't really know. So
True.
we need a players association to release salaries so we can then go, oh wow. Yeah, no, her Feist could also be a candidate. I mean, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with Reagan or Bailey, but
Right.
when they were healthy, they were making the bench. I mean, Bailey was in this last game, but when Reagan was healthy, she was making the bench quite a bit. Jericho was off now. But yeah, she does very much seem to be the person that like stands around and makes Tim Wild laugh. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things of they're not getting minutes. If we're gonna have someone else that we're looking forward to coming off of season ending, then we gotta pick someone, unfortunately.
yeah,
And now that we have our Marta, who could potentially make Temwa happy.
I don't know that she has the laughing in her like Jericho does. All I've ever seen her is like very stoic. But I mean, she might. I don't know.
Maybe that's just all Martas.
Yeah, because the Marta is the only time she seems to be happy is when it's more of a scowl at somebody.
She she's gotten a little bit more for lack of a better term, crazier in the last few years. That she doesn't really, I don't know. Now she's gotten older, it's almost like she doesn't care anymore about what she needs to be portrayed as.
Yeah, she doesn't care what anybody thinks, which I
Yes,
admire, but
I do too.
um, I think I will not say any more about Marta at this point. I might I might say something I would end up regretting. The Yeah, I don't know. It's a good problem for Vlaco to have. I mean, they still have that player that's on loan in China. Cannot remember her name right now.
I
But
cannot
the
either.
18-year-old that's like one of the best 18-year-olds in the world according to the one list we saw, which great. I don't know how we decide that. Um, so she's so good that we sent her on loan and could she? So there's lots of things that could still happen in this season with players.
It's it's just interesting to know that we've sent her on loan to the Chinese league, which is where we got Bia and Temwa. And you know, recently Angie and Chris Long have talked about wanting to kind of go like the Michelle Kang route and buy another club. What if they
Yeah.
just buy some random Chinese team and that is Casey Current too at this point?
Well, I mean, it is kind of a feeder league at this point, so why not? Uh, yeah, I had not heard that. I'd heard it kind of like talked about a little bit, but have they confirmed that they were really interested in doing that? Because it would be good.
I saw a quote, I think from Chris, that said that they've been looking into some other team, looking to get another team, but nothing too definitive. It was like one quote, nothing too definitive.
I have to see if I can pin somebody down on that at some point, but maybe, maybe not. I think if they were going to do that, I'd prefer somewhere in Europe just for the competitive reasons, but
Right.
and the fact that I'd be able to see it once in a while, perhaps. Maybe I can see the teams in China. I don't know, actually. I've never tried.
No, but you can watch like the Mawali national team via Instagram because someone's always streaming it like on Instagram Live. I
Very
learned
cool.
that trying to watch like Banda versus Temwa in the last matchup.
Which, speaking of, since the last time I potted keeping current, they have added two more call ups, Rocky, as we mentioned earlier, and Jericho. And let's see who else. The kids, the U18s, Mary Long and Katie Scott. We mentioned last time. And the
Prince and Lorena, and then
yes,
Cooper and Hutton. So eight.
and cool,
And oh, and cool.
a lot of cool.
Apology, apologies, a lot of cool.
So
It's I'm so surprised this year. Like I just feel like we were at a point in USR. I understand that she is Naomi Gurma's. She's only there because Naomi Gurma is hurt.
yeah,
But it really did feel like we were just done with her at the national team level.
yeah, but people can resurrect their careers. So she's doing really well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm stoked for her, but it just kind of looking back, it's like, oh, like if you would have told me this a year ago, then I probably wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah, I know. I can understand that, but it's cool. All right. I think we are running out of time. So any last words?
Have anything poetic, unfortunately, other than I'm gonna predict that in the next national team game, Cooper is gonna get another goal.
I would like that. She's the more confidence she gets here, the more confidence she gets there, the more confidence she gets there, the more confidence she gets here. We are out.